Hey everyone, it's Sally here, and today I'm chatting with Derek, who is the CEO for Zero Carbon. Hey Derek, how's it going?
Hi Sally, it's all going fine, thanks. It's nice to meet you and speak to the AmaZix community and the rest of the crypto community.
Excellent. Yeah, and you're in London, correct?
I'm in London. I travel between Sydney and London. The project's being launched from Sydney. However, we have a business operation based in London. So it's a Sydney-London operation and business for us.
And maybe we could just start with a little overview then of the project for those who don't know what Zero Carbon is, and also some of the issues that you're trying to solve.
Sure. Well, the Zero Carbon project is tackling climate change using the blockchain. And the particular part of the climate change problem that we're focused on is renewable energy has been responding very well to the challenge of climate change over the last decade. For instance, solar power costs have dropped 90%, wind power is similar, batteries are following in that trend, but renewable energy is still more expensive than fossil fuel electricity. And for mass adoption of zero carbon energy, the price of zero carbon energy needs to be lower. We believe it needs to be lower than the cost of fossil fuel electricity. So the Zero Carbon project is focusing on that particular problem, and in the interim, before renewable energy is cost competitive against fossil fuels, we're going to aim to deliver lower priced zero carbon energy than fossil fuels.
And that makes a lot of sense because in order to have mass adoption, people have to be paying less for the alternative energy. I mean, they're not going to switch over unless there's cost savings. So that makes a lot of sense, and it's a great issue to be tackling. So why did you decide to implement blockchain technology to do this?
Sure. What inspired us for the Zero Carbon project what were smart contracts on the Ethereum blockchain. We're excited about the idea of trustless smart contracts underpinned by the immutability of smart contracts. So code can be deployed on the blockchain, which can never be changed, along with the transparency of the smart contract, so that anybody can have a look at the rules of the smart contract and understand what's going to happen with their digital currency, and also the security qualities of smart contracts. So it was the idea of trustless smart contracts and how that allows us to design an Energis token in our case, which captures the future utility which our future consumers will receive from our service, and we can use these Energis tokens as a catalyst for change, to reward our energy consumers for switching to zero carbon energy and helping us tackle climate change.
So can you go into a little bit of detail about how that works exactly within your marketplace and the token? I'm just kind of curious to know the step-by-step process.
Sure. So there's a two-part solution to the Zero Carbon project. The first part is the zero carbon market. So energy consumers can come online. They can see a broad range of zero carbon energy offers. Some of them may be sourced from renewable energy technology. Some may be sourced from carbon neutral technologies. Others from nuclear. And carbon neutral is interesting because whereas renewable energy is still more expensive than fossil fuel, carbon neutral it consists of a fossil fuel electricity source, but with the carbon emissions offset using carbon emissions, using carbon credits, international carbon credits. So the zero carbon market's aim is to switch consumers to zero carbon energy while reducing their costs compared to fossil fuel. Now, the second part of the solution is our Energis token economy. even if our market can switch to zero carbon energy while reducing costs, that may not. We've actually found through experience that that's not necessarily enough for consumers to prioritize switching. So we're going to also offer Energous tokens as a reward to be a catalyst for change, for consumers to switch to zero carbon energy. And the reason why the Energous tokens hold utility is because the energy suppliers, which win our consumers' business, they have to pay a transaction fee, and they have to pay that transaction fee using Energous tokens. So as our consumer base increases, the transaction fees increase, and the internal demand for Energous tokens increases. So that's our Energous token economy, and that's how we're going to tackle climate change using the blockchain.
And you actually have an excellent video on your website. I saw it. It kind of explains the model, and it shows a visual of how the tokens are and how the companies purchase the tokens, and then they send them back to the users, and then they can sell them on the exchanges and so on. It's kind of a cycle. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
And you actually, I also read that you do already have some companies on board with this project.
Sure. Zero Carbon Project is an initiative of my company in the UK called Beyond. It's an energy and carbon consultancy. We already have 600 business clients, including large energy consumers such as JP Morgan, Capita, Knight Frank.
Wow.
Salford City Council is one of the biggest councils in the UK. And we're already running green energy tenders for these big companies. We're saving them money, and we're avoiding carbon emissions.
Great. So it's like a win-win then.
Well, that's why we're using the blockchain and cryptocurrency, because we're sourcing future utility, and we're using that for rewards, which creates a win for consumers. It creates a win for energy suppliers, who are always on the hunt for new customers, and it's also a reward for our planet and society in helping tackle climate change.
Yeah, it's excellent. I actually interviewed a project a few weeks ago. It's a shipping company where they're trying to revolutionize like containers, those empty containers that get shipped around the world. And like a side effect of their project was reducing, it was like 4.5 million tons a year of CO2 emissions. So it's great to see these blockchain projects helping to, not only revolutionize different industries, but also help the environment at the same time.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm actually tracking just over 30 energy blockchain projects now, and
wow.
all of them are looking for ways to tackle climate change like us. And interestingly, they all have different business models. So some offer peer-to-peer electricity trading. Some are looking to tokenize the future output of new renewables farms. Several of them are actually looking to tokenize the carbon credit market. Now, they're all different, and they're different to our business model. There are a few who have a similar marketplace to us, but again, they have a different way of using the blockchain and tokens, and we're different because we're using them to reward our consumers for contributing to helping solve the problem.
That's good, because that was actually one of my questions, was what other competitors are in this space. So that's excellent. You already answered that. I'm curious about your background personally and your team and maybe some of your partners and advisors, because you did mention that you are in this energy business with your company. So maybe you can expand on that a little bit. Sure.
Well, personally, I've been involved in professional services for just on 30 years now. Initially with Macquarie Bank financial markets, back when the foreign exchange markets were deregulating and interest rates were deregulating. I was involved with Accenture as a strategy consultant, helping design competitive electricity markets. they got me involved because of my previous financial markets. And over the last 15 years, I've been building my own energy and carbon consultancy business in the UK with my colleagues, which, as I explained earlier, has grown year in, year out by introducing new technologies, mainly software technologies, but also trying to introduce renewable energy technologies when they're commercial and economic for our clients. So our team has had a lot of experience in energy markets. We have 30 energy and carbon consultants, many of them with 15, 20 years plus experience. We have great experience at commercializing new technologies. We have terrific experience at growing new technology businesses. And we also have some fantastic expertise with the blockchain. Our head of software development has actually designed and developed our smart contract infrastructure. We have Bok Koo on board, who's been involved in over 30 ICO projects as a designer, developer, and auditor of smart contracts. And we also have Lunar Labs, who have technical consultants as well. So we've assembled a world-class team to do the job.
Yeah, it sounds like you're definitely not new to the energy sector, so it sounds like you have quite a bit of experience. And it's nice to see a team that mixes the blockchain experience and smart contract technology with the sector that you're trying to implement it in. So it sounds like you have a good mix of people there. And I was going to ask you about how you're going to attract companies and individuals to your project, but it sounds like you already have a lot of connections and have already laid the groundwork for that.
Yes. At the end of the day, with all blockchain projects, the big challenge is attracting customers. And we have a solid plan based on a lot of past experience of doing that. So we're intending to launch, the current plan is to launch our market in the UK in October. We're then launching in Australia in the first quarter of next year. We will then be rolling the market out in competitive electricity markets around the world, in the US, in Europe. There's a lot of competitive electricity markets in Europe, but also in Japan. And then in 2020, we've designed a market for regulated electricity markets. So that will be the main drive, marketing drive, where we have, in addition to rewarding consumers for switching to zero carbon energy, we also have a very generous referrals program, friends and family, spreading the word so that our consumers can introduce a new customer, and both will receive the same generous reward in Energis tokens. So we intend for the rollout of our market, combined with the friends and family, and also half of the proceeds from our token sale, to help us attract that customer base that we need.
So that's happening very soon. You're going to be rolling this out in the next few months.
Yes, that's right. So we're aiming for, we intend to launch in October. We've developed the systems. We have 32 energy suppliers lined up with commercial arrangements in place with our parent Beyond here in the UK. We have customers lined up. So it's all ready to go. We have the Energis smart contract economy lined up for implementation, for deployment. So we're ready to go live in October. The token sale, if we launch up, if we move into our public token sale in October, then we may slip the zero carbon market. But we're sticking to our roadmap in the white paper. So in October we intend to launch.
And why did you decide to hold an ICO for this?
The ICO is a great opportunity to raise funds to be able to take our zero carbon market global. It's also a great opportunity to sell our Energous tokens to our consumers at a cheaper price, and to build the community. So, in addition to rewarding our future customers for consuming electricity, our aim is to also reward them by giving them the opportunity to be involved in a token sale project. And we're currently in a private pre-sale, but we've actually designed what we call a democratic private pre-sale. And basically all that means is that we've reduced the minimum contribution so that smaller contributors can also be involved in the private pre-sale, where there may be a bit more risk because it's an earlier stage, but it gives them the opportunity to purchase it with price discounts and also bonuses.
That's nice to see, because you don't often see the private pre-sales open to the general public for the most part, because they have such high minimum contributions. So
That's right.
Let's get into some of the details then about the ICO, so that everybody knows exactly when it is, what the price will be, maybe the supply, if there's countries that aren't allowed to participate, things like that, if you don't mind.
Sure. Okay. We're aiming to raise $20 million through our token sale, and we've broken it down into three stages. We're currently in the private pre-sale, which we're expecting to run for a couple more months. We're then going to move quickly into and we're looking to raise $2 million during that private pre-sale. So as I explained, it's open to smaller contributors, but we're in discussions with quite a number of larger investors as well, including potentially some cornerstone strategic investors. We will then move into the public pre-sale, the public pre-sale and the public crowd sale. October, November is the date that we're aiming for. But we won't be announcing that until we're well into the private pre-sale. So we currently have the three timeframes covered. There's a lot of uncertainty with a tough crypto market, but within the next 6 months we should have our token sale finished and have our zero carbon market operating with a liquid marketplace for our Energous tokens.
Yeah, and that's understandable. I mean, everybody knows the market right now isn't the best, so it makes sense to kind of just keep waiting until you reach your goals. And as far as countries that can and can't participate, do you have any restrictions?
Sure. There are some restrictions at the moment for small investors, for retail investors. The US, unfortunately, is a no-go zone because of the regulatory uncertainty. There's still some regulatory uncertainty with China. It's interesting because investors in China says that it's no problem, but all of the professional advisors outside of China says that it's a no-go zone at the moment.
Yeah.
And there's still some uncertainty around Japanese regulations, but it's possible that may change. There's always uncertainty around the regulatory requirements and frameworks we have to follow.
Definitely. And your token is a utility token, correct?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we have a fantastic law firm called King & Wood Mallisons, based in Hong Kong, Australia, but with a global presence. And they've done their thorough assessment, and they've helped us ensure that we are strictly a utility token. We've avoided all of the risks around us being perceived as a securities token, which can cause no end of regulatory pain all over the world. So yes, we are a utility token. At the end of the day, the Energous token can only be used to pay the transaction fees for participating on a market, and therefore it's a utility token.
So I'm going to ask this. You don't have to say anything. Most people aren't, they're kind of weird about the exchange listing question, but do you have plans to be listed on an exchange once the crowd sale is over?
Yes, and in fact, we are looking forward to an announcement on Tuesday, the 17th of July, which may be after or before this video is published. I'm not sure. So the answer is yes. We do have a main crypto exchange as a partner, and we will be making that announcement next week on Tuesday.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure people will be glad to hear that, because everybody likes to hear the exchange listing announcements. It's nice to have liquidity when you're dealing with different tokens. Do you have any final thoughts, Derek?
Yes. We're excited about what blockchain and smart contracts and digital currencies brings to society. It accesses new sources of utility, which can be used to do good. And in our case, we're looking to utilize those tokens in order to provide a catalyst for change by rewarding our energy consumers for switching to zero carbon energy and helping us tackle climate change.
Well, thanks so much for sharing these details with me. This is a very interesting project. I like how it's tackling the climate change issue and also kind of changing the whole energy market itself, and how people, their cost for the energy too, because that is a huge issue. Like you said, it's hard to incentivize the whole world to kind of change what they've been doing unless there's a cost savings to them. So this is a great project, and I will have links down below in the description so you guys can go check out the website, details about the token sale. You can watch the video that you have on there to better understand how the token market works within the zero carbon network. So if you guys want to check those out. And Derek, thanks so much for chatting today, and hopefully we'll speak again soon.
Well, thanks, Sally. Thanks, viewers.